Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live here at the News Hub in Adisawe. My name is AC Benewanyame. Coming up. President Akufo-Addo assures 110 ministerial appointments will not affect the public purse, but pressure group Occupy Ghana remains unconvinced. We'll get more on this particular story. News elsewhere, UN warns South Sudan conflict has led to the world's fastest growing refugee crisis. The details of these stories and many more, including sports and entertainment, coming up in the next 1 hour. You can also join us via our various social media platforms on Facebook and on Twitter. Now to our very first story, President Akufo-Addo has given assurance that the 110 ministerial appointments and the free SHS policy will not affect the public purse. Speaking in an interview on the state broadcaster, he said the NPP government will work harder to fight corruption and grow the economy.
We want a situation where political office holders are the first to recognize that they serve the public interest, not their own personal interests. I've said it time and again. Those of my party and adherents, like-minded people who think that coming into the public sector is going to be an avenue for making money under Akufo-Addo are going to be disappointed, to the extent that my eyes and ears can see what is going to happen. I'm not going to allow that to happen. For instance, as we sit today, in a record time, all the first appointments that I made have all declared their assets. All 36 ministers who are the first lot of appointees that I made have all, as of yesterday, declared and filed their assets with the Auditor General. It is part of a process of reassuring the Ghanaian people that the commitments that we made to protect the public purse, the commitments that we made to ensure that we live with a political system that minimizes corruption, which has really ravaged our country and brought us to this low level of economic decline, that there is going to be a systematic attempt to deal with it. The free HS system is being funded from the budget. A more efficient and intelligent.
Have also been asked about the sustainability.
I'm saying we made a commitment. We said that we will begin 2017-2018 academic year to fund the free senior high school program. We have begun from within budget resources, a more efficient use of our resources. We have found the money to begin the process. I think if we found the money to begin the processes, you can count on us to find the money to sustain the process. This matter is not, and I've kept saying it, I want to repeat it again, it is not a political gimmick. It goes to the heart of our effort to develop our country.
Well, let's still stay on this particular issue because pressure group Occupy Ghana has added its voice to calls for the president to downsize the number of ministers appointed to serve under his government. The pressure group, in a statement, indicated that the president's appointment of what critics have described as elephant-sized cabinet will only lead to corruption. Well, so right now I have engineer Nana Sapon Bedu, and he is the media relations for Occupy Ghana. Good afternoon and thanks so much for joining us, Nana Sapon. Nana Sapon, good afternoon and thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, so my first question is, President Akufo-Addo has allayed the fears about the 110 ministers. Does this not put the matter to rest?
Thank you so very much. Yeah, we've heard the president, and we can understand exactly where he's coming from, since he is the main appointing authority. Uh, uh, um, However, we would also prefer that they put in place a system, a KPI, which they would use to some are quite a bit too many, which we feel could be redundant along, the line. And knowing that after 4 years we'll be paying all these people ex gratia, that would be a very huge burden on the taxpayer. So it's not about them making money, but the expenses that the country will be incurring whilst paying all these people to work for the country. And after that, at 4 years, when we have that would also be very huge. So we understand the president's position. He knows what he's doing. But for us, we think that it's
Well, we have a bit of a difficulty getting exactly what he's saying, but we'll try as much as possible to bring back this interview. Right now, though, let's look at some other issues. And the Inspector General of Police, David Apieto Asante, says there is enough evidence to press charges against the East Legon District Police Commander in the gold scam. In an exclusive interview with TV3, the police chief insisted there is clear evidence to establish DSP Emmanuel Basintale's complicity in the case.
The police administration has over the years stepped up efforts aimed at increasing professionalism and also discouraging wrongdoing among personnel. These efforts have led to the naming and shaming of personnel found culpable for various infractions. Last year alone saw a total of 105 personnel being dismissed from the service. 123 had their ranks reduced, whilst 92 were reprimanded. On Thursday, March 16, news went round that another senior officer in charge of East Legon District, DSP Emmanuel Basintale, had been interdicted for a gold scam worth nearly 2 million cedis. The Inspector General of Police, David Asante Apieto, said there is enough evidence to prosecute the police commander involved.
And it tells you the in-depth investigation that the Criminal Investigations Department has done to discover this crime that has been committed. If you look at what they have discovered, there is a prima facie case that we can proceed upon.
The IGP admitted it is a difficult task to eliminate crime, but assured of sustained efforts and stringent measures to regain public confidence.
It is difficult sometimes to discover crimes committed within our institution. Some of them develop these tendencies by association after joining the police service. And we will continue to do our work to take them out from the service if you are found to be one.
He said all monitoring and complaint units are being strengthened to fish out and deal with the bad nuts, and called on the public to help their cause by volunteering credible information on corrupt personnel.
A worrying situation there. We'll take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
someone you can bond with, and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are. That's who we are.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's move on to some other stories and on a more rather sad issues. 49 persons have lost their lives through road traffic accident between January 1 and March 12 this year in Accra alone. The Accra Central MTTD recorded a total of 916 road traffic accidents over the period.
In spite of increased public education and awareness creation on accident prevention, the country continues to record many road traffic accidents. Between January 1 and March 12, 49 persons have lost their lives through road traffic accidents in Accra alone. The report available to the Central MTTD Accra also indicated 294 serious and 573 minor injuries, and a total of 916 road traffic accidents were recorded. Again, a total of 286 persons were knocked down within the period under review. These accidents involved 514 commercial vehicles, 752 private vehicles, and 220 motorbikes, bringing the total number of vehicles to 1,486 in less than 3 months. This was partially blamed on inadequate personnel at the Central MTTD.
There's a shortage of personnel level. So what is going to happen within the next 2 months is that the police administration have initiated a process with a view of increasing the numbers so that all these areas and points can be covered, so that one policeman cannot be on the road for at least 8 hours.
Meanwhile, the police MTTD have arrested a total of 238 drivers for various road traffic offences during the period. 126 of the cases were sent to court, resulting in 112 successful convictions, yielding 84,340 cedis in fine. The commanding officer of the Central MTTD, DCOP Alex Asiama Amponsa, tasked personnel to be innovative.
Cecil Gabra is a transport consultant and he joins me via Skype to talk more about this worrying situation. Good afternoon, Mr. Gabra, and thanks so much for joining us here on Midday Live. Good afternoon, Mr. Gabra, and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, I can hear you.
Okay. First of all, I would like to find out from you, as a country, have we paid much attention to the issue about road accidents?
Road accidents. We have less than 3 million vehicles. Unfortunately, we do not have that time. We haven't put in any sort of energy, any sort of resources to solve the accident problem. Right? If you look at all the governments in power, we've had the NDC, now you have the NPP. It looks like ministers of state. It looks like enforcement agencies do not care about what they see because they don't stay in traffic. Right, there's a little bit of, or I'll say more frustrations in traffic for people who drive, like you and I. And then we tend to be recalcitrant by flouting the road regulations.
Well, so over 1,000 productive lives are lost yearly through road accidents. Would you say authorities have not done enough to screen and monitor, drivers on our roads?
Yes, we haven't done much. Our authorities haven't done well at all. Let me put it that in driving, in road safety, we have the 4 technical E's that I always talk about.
Well, sorry, we've lost him, but right now, let's listen to what the general public also have to say about the issue of road accidents on our roads.
The National Road Safety Commission has indicated plans to install CCTV cameras on major highways across the country as part of measures to check in irresponsible behaviors on our roads and possibly reduce the high numbers of road accidents in the country. What do you think?
Well, if they will penalize people for the crimes they've committed, if it's just a mere way of scaring the people. I'm sure these recalcitrant drivers will continue to commit the same carnage on the roads. So maybe what they can do is to first educate the public and then follow up with the installation of these cameras.
If we want to install cameras, there should be a monitoring system governing the whole thing so that we can get the information to see how far it has helped to minimize or eliminate the road accident entirely. When cameras are put there, I think drivers will be more careful. Yes, because of speeding and all that.
Some of the drivers are not qualified to handle the vehicle. I think if the CCTV camera is being introduced, it will help a lot and it will reduce the degree of accident on our road.
This will help a lot because there are a lot of indiscipline on our roads. The level of education of the drivers, most drivers, especially the commercial drivers, is not up to international standard. It's good that they install cameras on our roads.
I'm not sure that will help because the cameras will not stop the drivers from overspeeding. The cameras will not stop vehicles that are not in good condition from getting accidents. But if the cameras are there and they are not using them to catch the overspeeding drivers, then it will be useless. Yeah. The police will be involved in the use of the cameras.
Away from road accident issues, the Accra Regional Police Command has arrested 26-year-old terror suspect Yakubu Alidu, aka Bullets, at Agbebloshi in Accra. Yakubu Alidu was arrested days after an Accra Circuit Court issued a bench warrant following a number of terror activities in Agbebloshi and its environs.
The court warrant followed an application by the police after a series of violent attacks on inhabitants of Agbebloshi and its environs. The police said in all the reported cases, Yakubu Alidu, aka Bullet, was visibly seen leading the armed gang who usually inflict machete wounds on their victims. Some of the violent attacks, according to the police, occurred on February 2, February 15 and March 3 this year. The police said efforts at getting him and his gang arrested proved unsuccessful, hence the court warrant. However, luck eluded him when he was arrested in the early hours of Thursday, March 16, during a swoop in Agbebloshi, together with one of his accomplices. The Accra Regional Police Commander, DCOP Osaberma Oware Asari Pinkru III, reiterated the resolve of the police to rid the city of criminals and called for support.
If the criminals would not sleep, we would not sleep. We would try to adopt all methods that will help us to prevent crime, to reduce the crime rate in the city.
A similar exercise was conducted in 7 of the 14 policing divisions in the region, where a number of suspected criminals were rounded up with narcotics and items suspected to have been stolen.
Civil society organizations and participants of Star Ghana learning events for grant partners want civic and the electoral education be made a continuous agenda by the National Commission for Civic Education and Civil Society Organizations. According to them, waiting till electoral years affects the quality of information given out.
In a communique signed at the end of a 2-day learning event, participants resolved to play a surveillance role and engage stakeholders to ensure the deepening of Ghana's democracy and the strengthening of transparency, accountability and social inclusion for citizens. Among other things, participants asked NCCE to embark on electoral and civic education all year round and not wait for election years.
The underfunding of these institutions is as crucial as fixing our education system, as getting us adequate health, as getting us roads, and all the other things as putting money in our pockets. We need to understand the ways in which our democracy can be compromised, and sometimes it is just not giving NCC its budget.
Participants also want the National Media Commission to ensure standard regulations on media programming to reduce polarization.
We are not talking about tampering with freedoms of speeches and stuff.
but to set standards about behavior, about giving spaces on other issues, and minimizing the polarization so that citizens can make those informed decisions they need to make.
The learning event forms part of Star Ghana's learning vision, which is to strengthen and encourage learning in Star Ghana internally among civil society groups and across diverse stakeholders in the country.
The creative arts industry will soon be boosted with the construction of a multi-purpose theatres in some parts of the country. President Akufo-Addo, who revealed this at the Ghana International School's musical adaptation play dubbed The Prince of Egypt, insisted arts and culture will be given full attention by his administration.
The play, The Prince of Egypt, is an outstanding musical performance to provide students of the Ghana International School with a unique opportunity to explore their potential, realize their talent and build self-esteem. President Akufo-Addo said government will focus on building a strong creative arts industry.
The National Dance Ensemble, the Ghana Symphony Orchestra, and the National Theatre and National Drama Company are going to be supported to carry out their mandate and make culture an integral part of Ghana's economic transformation. We are committed to building multi-purpose theatres in Takoradi, Kumasi, and Tamale. It is sad that it has taken this long, but we shall make good this serious omission in artistic and cultural infrastructure.
He again promised to support Ghanaian music and culture to set the country on a higher pedestal.
What defines a nation are its arts, culture, customs, and traditions. Without acknowledging them, we stand unable to face the rest of the world, unable to face ourselves. Our composers, painters, filmmakers, writers, musicians, sculptors, actors, actresses contribute immensely to our advancement as a nation. And it's for this reason that supporting the arts, i.e. giving arts and culture the requisite attention and incentives to flourish, is an important focus of mine.
And Bonahafo Regional Minister Asoma Treme has assured non-indigents of Banda working in the town of protection, condemning threats by a group. He warned that the security agencies will deal with any attacks on any residents of the town.
Government workers in Banda in the Banda district of the Bonahafo region deserted their posts. This followed threats of attacks by a group calling itself concerned members of Banda Ahinkro. The group threatened to launch attacks on non-indigents working in the area. They claimed the strangers have taken over job opportunities, making it difficult for indigents to find employment. The Bonahafo Regional Minister, Asoma Treme, condemned the threat of attacks, expressing worry it could prevent workers from accepting posting to the area.
I want to plead with the concerned members of Banda Ahinkro to rescind their decision to enable peace to prevail in the town.
Yomahin of Banda Ahinkro, Okochiridom Kwejosito, pleaded with government workers in the area to remain at post. He assured security agencies will arrest anyone who threatens to attack non-indigents in the area.
The traditional authorities are worried about this development and would not hesitate to bring perpetrators to book.
This is Midday Live, and two major unions are expected to mount pressure on government in the next few weeks to set up the Commission on Migration. The Health Services Workers Union and the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association say the commission is needed to bring sanity into the system.
The two major unions, the Health Services Workers Union and the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, raised concerns with the need to set up the Ghana Commission on Migration. In 2015, Parliament passed the National Policy on Migration, which will cover a period of 5 years. In the policy, a Ghana Commission on Migration is expected to be established. Again, the policy seeks to provide adequate country information to those who would want to migrate. It also provides adequate information to security agencies to deal with those involved in illegal recruitment. However, 2 years into the passage, the Ghana Commission on Migration has not been set up. For these reasons, the Health Services Workers Union and the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association have indicated plans to push government to establish the commission. Deputy General Secretary of the Health Services Workers Union, Franklin Usu-Ansa, is hopeful the commission would address the concerns of workers.
There's a 5-year implementation plan, but it has not started. 1 year is gone. We are entering the 2nd year. What is going to be done? As labor unions, as civil society, we need to do the lobby, push the government to make sure that something that has been developed does not go waste.
General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Perpetual Oforiampofo, also underscored the relevance of the commission.
You are recruited to probably go and practice, for example, nursing, and you end up having to do living, caring for people in their homes and that kind of thing. That is where we have recruitment agencies that are out there exploiting vulnerable workers who intend to travel abroad. Right.
Meanwhile, the Trades Union Congress is to push government to rectify the Domestic Workers Convention 181 in the next few weeks. The convention, when fully rectified, would mount pressure on employers to pay the SNIT contributions of domestic workers.
The International Labour Organization, ILO, in 2014 pushed member countries to facilitate the ratification of Domestic Workers Convention. In Ghana, the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations in the same year put together a domestic workers document to be ratified by government. However, Parliament under the erstwhile government could not ratify the convention, compelling the International Labour Organization to mount pressure on the TUC to facilitate the process. For these reasons, the Trades Union Congress organized a workshop with domestic workers to solicit their views on the document. The Domestic Workers Convention, when fully implemented, would address concerns on SNIT contributions of workers. Again, the convention would also consider the need to increase wages for domestic workers. Adwa Sechi is a representative of the International Union of Food.
Domestic work is like performing cooking, cleaning, washing. Is similar in those workers who are working in the restaurants. In this country, we all know that most of the restaurants are not organized. For that matter, the employers would like to treat them anyhow. But the law, the 1992 Constitution says that every worker has a right to join a trade union and be protected and work under a safe and healthy environment.
A representative of TUC, Dr. Kwabena Nyakun Otu, underscored the need to use dialogue to push through the convention.
The content of the laws are not enforced. And it's principally because we have failed to invest in the institutions for social dialogue. We want industrial peace in this country. We want labor, employers and government to dialogue. But we also want a situation where we are able to implement the outcomes of our dialogue.
Stay with us, we'll be right back with more.
A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust. Someone you can relate to.
Someone you can bond with. And with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are.
To some business stories now. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center has completed feasibility studies to enable Ghana partner Mauritius in the construction of new factories in the country. Mauritius has shown interest to support Ghana implement government's one district, one factory policy.
The NPP government's promise of building one factory for each district of the country is receiving the needed support. On March 9, the chief executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center led a 30-member delegation to Mauritius to explore investment opportunities. Of particular interest was the one district, one factory policy.
Mauritius picked Ghana as the first country that they wanted to have strong investment and trade relations with. Although their GDP is about $6 billion, Mauritius in itself manages about $28 billion worth of investment money, which they believe they can deploy to invest on the African continent. Ghana, on the other hand, is in a very well-positioned place for both trade and investment. We will submit to the Mauritius BOI the master plan for the one district, one factory, so that they will see the opportunities that are available.
The 4-day mission also included heads of private companies and other key industry players. The other outcomes of the mission include the signing of the double taxation agreement, which will subject the taxpayer to only one tax agreement, and the negotiation of an eventual investment promotion and protection agreement. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Mr. Yofi Grant, encouraged Ghanaians to dialogue with the center on investment opportunities. He assured Ghanaians of reviewing and re-engineering the GIPC law to make Ghana the most business-friendly country in Africa. The GIPC has registered 72 companies from Mauritius so far. Over the last 4 years, the center has attracted $2.5 to $3 billion of investments. The target for this year is to attract $5 billion of investments into Ghana.
And that will be all for business. Coming up next is sports. Stay with us.
A news uncovered style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
someone you can bond with, and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Anako Jafre with the sports update. Let's get into the details now. Elected into the FIFA Council for a second 4-year term, Kwesi Nyantakyi is confident of succeeding in the high office of football governing body.
The FIFA Council is the highest executive body of FIFA, just as the Executive Council or Executive Committee for CAF. And so for you to be elected to the council is no mean achievement. And if you have the privilege of being on it, it also confers on you as an individual a certain privilege, honor, and a sense of pride. So I am very happy and I feel privileged to be elected onto the FIFA Council. I believe that I'll be able to live up to the expectation of the stakeholders and justify the confidence you and all of them have reposed in me by electing me to this august body.
Meanwhile, newly appointed Confederation of African Football President Dr. Ahmad says first act will be to conduct an audit of the body. The Malagasy dethroned long-term CAF President Issa Hayatou on Thursday, winning the Ethiopia-based elections by 34 votes to 20. Ahmed says he will go to CAF headquarters and look inside this house after that audit. Ahmed who was little known prior to announcing his candidacy in January, was elected on a campaign of wide-ranging reforms. Chief among them were pledges to bring greater governance and transparency to CAF, while also promising to work on the African game from the grassroots. As match day 8 in the Ghana Premier League, and the big action will be at the Accra Sports Stadium when Accra to Folk take on Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And these are the fixtures to expect this weekend. Bolga All-Stars are taking on Bechem United. Ebusua Dwarfs will be up against league leaders Ediana Stars. Elmina Sharks will take on Ashanti Gold. At the Calredof Park in Dansuman is Liberty Professionals versus Wa All-Stars. Mediama at home in Takwa, they take on Great Olympics, yet to register a win in the Ghana Premier League. West Africa Football Academy Wafa will take on Brekum Chelsea. And in Accra, this is the one that everybody will be looking forward to. Ghana's version of the El Clasico, Accra to Folk taking on Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and Inter Allies will be up against Tema Youth. To more football on the African continent, Mali's Football Association has been suspended by FIFA until further notice over government interference in football matters. FIFA acted after Mali Sports Minister Husseini Amion Gwendo dissolved the executive committee of FEMAFOOT. Gwendo has also appointed a provisional committee mandated to run FEMAFOOT and set up elections within 12 months. FIFA said the ban would be lifted only when FEMAFOOT board and president Boubacar Baba Diarra are reinstated. Let's do some tennis news now, where Australian's Nick Kyrgios has pulled out of the quarterfinal match against Roger Federer at Indian Wells because of a bout of food poisoning. The 21-year-old, seeded 15th in the world, beat world number 2 Novak Djokovic in the previous round, but will not face Australian Open champion Federer. Federer, who is 35 years, goes on to face Jack Sock, who beat Japan's Kei Nishikori. That's all the sports on Midday Live. My name is Anako Jaffe. Thanks very much for watching. Good afternoon.
In news uncovered style
and professionalism.
Must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
Someone you can bond with. And with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are.
That's who we are.
To some international stories now. The UN Refugee Agency reports 1.6 million South Sudanese have fled to neighboring countries to escape famine, fighting and drought, making South Sudan the world's fastest growing refugee crisis. The Office of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, calls the rate of displacement from South Sudan alarming, placing an impossible burden on the region. This is particularly true of Uganda, which is hosting nearly half of all the refugees, some 800,000 people. To Brazil now, where authorities in Brazil suspended 33 government officials amid allegations that some of the country's biggest meat processors have been selling rotten beef and poultry for years. The meat processing plants have also been closed and another 21 are under scrutiny. Much of the meat produced by the companies accused is exported to Europe and other parts of the world. Brazil is the world's largest red meat exporter. And China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has urged the U.S. to remain cool-headed over North Korea tension. The situation was at a crossroads, but must not be allowed to develop into a conflict, he said, after hosting U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Mr. Tillerson spoke of dangerous levels of tension a day after suggesting the U.S. might launch a preemptive strike against North Korea. Let's do entertainment stories now. And days after surviving heart attack, actor and comedian Prince Yeltsin, aka Wachi, says it is time to get closer to God and do his work. He believes God spared his life just so he could live a new life, evangelizing and spreading the gospel. He spoke exclusively to Ogusuwarai.
On the 3rd of March, he got admitted at the Snit Hospital, and it happened after he returned home from a rehearsal. He felt pain around the chest area, and he ended up being admitted. He's now here with us, Prince Yosin. Basically, how are you feeling now?
I wouldn't say I am fine, but I'm a bit okay. I'm a bit okay.
People want to find out what really happened on the 3rd of March.
I was sleeping. At a point, I got up. I woke up, and I didn't know what woke me up. But then I felt a severe chest pain. According to the doctors, it was heart attack. They stopped me from so many things, and I shouldn't do anything that requires energy, because when I do that, it affects the heart. And according to them, I came with low blood pressure. That was why the blood couldn't pump to the heart.
Let's talk about your acting career. What's up with Prince Yosin, and what project are we to expect? Are you working on any project?
Right now, what I see is that God is trying to tell me something, because he's been calling me to do his work, and I also try to find a way, an excuse to do my own thing, but probably this is the only way that will draw me closer to him. And now from here I'll start doing his work.
And so what specifically are you going to be doing, and how different is that going to look from how you have always lived your life?
Yeah, I'll start evangelizing or train to be a pastor to do his work. And if anything, I wouldn't go through a situation like this again.
You see this as a caution from God to do what he wants you to do?
Yes. At a point, I became powerless. Even when the doctors told me to clench a fist for them to get a vein to do a transfusion, I realized I had no energy in me anymore. So I realized he gave me back my life because he wants me to do a job for him.
That'll be all for now. Thanks so much for watching. You can log on to 3news.com for more news, and also wait till 7 p.m. and watch News 360. Till then, enjoy our programs. Have a good afternoon.
A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be